time to cry. Something's gonna happen.
Well, welcome everybody to the new morning coffee show. Why am I saying it's new? It's new because years ago I started morning coffee, and in this new era, God says start again. So here I am, Pastor Debra B. Morton, and listen, a new era means that there are markedly differences from one era to another. There are things we can mark last era with, oh my God. And then now God says there will be new markings. There will be new accomplishments, new things happening, new revelation and unfolding, as I have been talking about. And God says, and those things that I unfold, I will fulfill. So I'm excited today that you have joined us. Don't forget to share and to tell somebody, post, whatever, because it's going to be powerful. I'm in this new era trying to find everyone that I can who will impact lives, who are making a difference, especially coming out of a pandemic. You know, you got to be strong to still impact. First of all, encourage yourself, as the Lord told David in the scriptures, and then encourage others. So today you're going to be blessed. I want you to get ready for my special guest. He is a son of mine. He's a big son, but I still call him a son. And, you know, God will divinely connect you. So let's receive now who will impact us, because today is about thriving, not just surviving. That's what morning coffee is about. Receive now attorney James Carter of now the Cochran firm. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to morning coffee. You're looking very, very dashing, I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look great. It's so good to see you. And I'm just so excited about you being on our morning coffee show. You know, morning coffee is symbolic to relaxing and sharing and talking, and of course, empowering and receiving and giving, or giving and receiving. So today, I know you're going to give us something, and I don't have any coffee here to offer you, but it's still going to be some good stuff. So, attorney, listen, I want to jump right into it because I know you're so busy, and I appreciate your time uh, that you have given to our audience today. But you know, I grew up houses uh, away from your grandparents.
Yes, yes.
You were a kid, and I was a young kid, but I'm older. I hate to say that, but I am. And your grandparents were entrepreneurs. So you were born and raised in NOLA. I know your mom very well. I used to call her Tut.
Yes, yes, yes.
But she was a sweet Tut, and she was like almost like an aunt to me in the neighborhood. That's the kind of neighborhoods we grew up in. But listen, since you were born and raised in NOLA, and you have this extensive career, but yet your career in government, your career, you know, in law, and of course other things. But tell us about your journey. Tell us about your journey.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me on your show. I often call you a vicegerent, right? And that is one of God's representatives on earth. And I appreciate so much what you have done, what your ministry has done, not only for the folks here in New Orleans, but humanity all around the world, literally. And so I seek inspiration from the God-given talents that your husband has, and I'm just so grateful that you would find me worthy to have an opportunity to talk on your show today. I always say,
so much.
And I always say when I'm talking about, when folks ask me that question, I always got to go back and thank God. I am a man of faith. To thank God for my parents. Without my parents and the foundation that they gave us, there'll be nothing good to say about me. So I thank you for providing an opportunity to give me another opportunity to say my foundational principles in which I operate under comes from the Christian upbringing from my parents in St. John's Institutional Baptist Church.
Which was down on Jackson Avenue from our
That's right.
home.
That's right. On
That's right.
Jackson
All
Avenue.
in the neighborhood. We had some good stuff, didn't we, in our
That
neighborhood? I tell
absolutely.
you. So
And
listen, you're jumping into my next question. So I wanted to know about that journey, but I'm gonna now let you continue as I merge it with my second question with all of the negativity many times about Black men in New Orleans that we hear and we see, and we mourn over at times as if there are no successful men there, and there are. But of course, we all about helping everyone. As you said, you're a man of God, I'm a woman of God. So we're also not just about law, we're not just about politics, we're not just about of course, government, but we are about community. So let me ask you this question as you talk about your journey. What inspired you to achieve such high heights? And in your journey, I need you to tell us, I mean, you're with the Cochran firm now, but you were with a giant killer. And then before, I mean, you just have worn so many hats and still striving. No, thriving. So tell us now, along with your journey, what inspired you, and of course, what are you doing now?
well, my mom very early in life gave me a positive self-image by the way she would sort of sculpture me in the mornings. I had a bush at the time. I had a big bush at the time, but I don't have it now. But she used to wash my hair and pat my little bush down and put on my tough skins and my earth shoes and say, Roni, which is my nickname, Roni. She said, Roni, I love you, and go about your way. And that sort of inculcated a self-image in me that made me feel like I was something from a very young age. And then my dad used to say, Roni, if you give me the same book, I can compete with anybody in the world. So I have the same book. I'm taught that I'm not better than anyone, but I'm certainly not worse than anyone else. So I'm equal to human beings no matter where they are in the world. So my parents gave me that foundation, but from that foundation, I developed a deep concern for the conditions of humanity. In my neighborhood I grew up in, we had situations where my part of the neighborhood would flood. The neighborhood that was populated by citizens of another race would not flood right down the street. We were close to an incinerator and railroad tracks that there was a derailment when I was in high school that affected that neighborhood. So I noticed that those inequities were in place at that time, and I wanted to do something about it. So Yolande Dillon, my high school counselor, saw potential in me and sent me off to Howard University for undergrad. And then from there, it was so great, I had to go back to the law school, my experience, and I went on to Howard University School of Law. At Howard University School of Law, the great late Charles Hamilton Houston, who taught Thurgood Marshall, who was a mentor of Thurgood Marshall, taught us that a lawyer is either a social engineer or a parasite on society. So I am versed in social engineering, meaning that I must use all of my talents, all of the skills, all of my training to help to better humanity and society. From there, I've become a professor at Howard University School of Law. I serve on the board of visitors there.
Wow.
Post-Katrina New Orleans, we saw the calamities happening there, and I ran for office, and through God's grace and mercy and your help, I became the second African-American council person to ever serve District C, which includes the French Quarter and Treme.
That's right. Well, listen, and that's tremendous. So the inspiration we see a lot of time, that the push or the drive, I should say, that we see when we see people thriving, audience, a lot of time is a part of our foundation. Having someone there to encourage and love on you. You may be saying, well, I didn't have that, but I don't want you to stop there, because attorney, some of my inspiration, of course, came from my home, but I was from a divorced couple, but my granny, and I knew your granny, but my granny, so my mom wasn't always there because I asked to go live with my granny, my dad and my uncle, the men in my life, that would say to me, stop running, act like a lady. Get all those scars on your legs. And my dad would say, I said, I'm going, he says, San Francisco is like this. And it just titillated something. And I'm going to San Francisco. You know what? I'm an airline attendant. I'm going all over the world. He said, I'm gonna be an executive secretary. So there are people in your lives. But then when I got to school, the way our schools were, even the teachers became extended parents. They would see something in you. Little Debbie, stop that talking. They didn't know I was going to preach, but I should have told them I'm going to preach, but I didn't know it. So my thing is, get your inspiration from somewhere, because you said something so important, attorney. My mother let me know, and my dad, that I wasn't the best, maybe, but I wasn't the worst. I had value. You have value. That's what I want to say, which was so a few words to your children, to your grandkids, and don't leave God out of it.
That's right.
Come down to like another St. John
That's right.
institution. Take them to a greater St. Stephen. And then, so now, attorney, as we're talking, that's what you need, someone to pour. That's why I use morning coffee to pour it in. Because even when we're grown, we still need inspiration. We still need encouragement. So listen, I heard that journey, law school, Howard. I didn't know about how I probably would have gone to Howard. I'm Howard kind of people.
That's right. That's right. You are.
Because what they do is, I went to a graduation and I wanted to enroll in the school. I'm too old. My niece graduated, and I said, the speakers were phenomenal. The history, and it's a Black man saying this and a Black woman saying this. And, I went to UNO. I know, shame in my game. They were white, but I had in me what I needed. But that part, how they shaped you guys to love Black, be a Black leader.
That's
be
right.
a strong one. Kamala, our vice president.
Yes, that's right. Howard grad.
My niece graduated and started working on Wall Street.
Yes.
Little girl. So
Yes.
I love that. So seek out those colleges for yourself and for your kids. I mean, those Black universities, I tell you, they put something in you. Now you had gone through to law school. You worked for several firms. You were a council person. You got things done. You left there. I just couldn't keep up with you, but I did somehow. And then we reconnected again to do community work. Now, tell us now. So I want you to tell us what you've done before and what you're working on now, because I know it's something with community, it's something to empower people and not a parasite living among us.
That's right. I like that. I like that. So you mentioned something earlier about the idea of the African-American male and how society oftentimes presents us. It has been my experience through Bishop Morton, through my dad, through my grandfather, through people in the community like Harold Sampson, who was my coach at St. Roch Park, and John Brown, who's now on the school board, who were my coaches at St. Roch Park. Through watching the African-American males drive these 18-wheeler trucks and clean up the city in the French Quarter, et cetera. The African-American male is the backbone of the city, right? Along with the African-American female. So you take these odd situations and say, they stereotype us, but at the same time, the overwhelming majority of African-American males are doing positive things in the community, and they have positively influenced me. And so in addition to me traversing Howard University and Howard University School of Law and becoming a counsel person, now I find myself as a managing partner in the Cochran firm, Trials and Mass Torts. Johnny Cochran was one of the great legal minds of our generation and in the world. He was one of the most recognized figures in the world at the time he was involved in the legal profession before he died. In fact, there was a study that said that if you wanted to get his name recognition, you would have to spend $1 billion. But Mr. Cochran not only was interested in doing well in the legal profession, but he was also interested in doing good for people. And so we are charged with doing good for people, doing good work, being prepared, being professional, wearing our best suits and our ties, because he was known for his ties, and he's known for his suits. So you had to look the part, you had to be articulate, you have to study. And so about 1.5 years ago, the leaders of Cochran found out about me and said to me that Mr. Cochran would want you to be a part of this because he put this firm together over 20 years ago to make sure that promising African-American attorneys will have the opportunity to go to a larger stage. And let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
So one of the great inspirations I get from you and your husband specifically is to think globally, think large. I mean, don't just think parochially or narrowly. Think large, think globally, think intergalactically, if you will, right? You must have a large in universal mindset in order to reach the God-given potential that we have. So I'm blessed to have a mother who thinks large. I'm blessed to have people around me who think large. I'm blessed to have you being that vice gerent, sharing what you were doing, the miraculous things. I was looking at a video of one of the conferences that you had many, many years ago. And like so young you look today, you look very young then. And you were presenting on the world stage way back 30 years ago, and oftentimes we don't realize how important it is to have individuals like yourself in our midst to give us that sort of guidance and continued inspiration that we have. So now I'm with the Cochran firm. And we are doing incredible things relative to civil rights litigation. We do catastrophic injury cases where individuals are seriously injured. We deal with class action issues such as the talcum powder cases, the weed killer cases. We deal with the asbestos cases. And we also deal with hurricane claims. We talk about this climate that we're in right now. We've seen it in Hurricane Katrina, et cetera. When these calamities happen, we have to make sure that these insurance companies are do justice by individuals. Because remember, we're not just lawyers for the sake of making money, but we're also social engineers.
You said a mouthful and tapped into so many things that I was thinking, and not to keep you, I can keep you all day because you're so articulate. And I mean, you're hitting it right on the head, the nail on the head, because first of all, let's back up. These young Black men that are always portrayed at the negative side of Black men. I really want New Orleans and Black men all over. Black lives do matter. You know what I say? Believers' lives matter too. I want y'all to find the God I know who will make you think globally. When I started with Full Gospel and was assigned to be over the women, for some reason, and I think it goes back to my dad saying, you could go all over the world, and then I want to be an flight attendant. Then he's thinking about the racism. He was like, girl, you can't be no flight attendant all over the world. But you just told me I could go all over the world. That's one way I know I can go if I get a job. There's another thing, get a job. Work is not bad. Everybody's not going to be rich overnight, but you think big. And our teachers used to say, if you think, reach for the sky, you'll land somewhere among the stars. So you're gonna be up there. When I started Full Gospel, what I said to the ladies, and they always remind me, now that they're all grown up, they were younger than Bishop and I, believe it or not. And I would say, you're not local, you're international.
That's right.
Why would you just talk to me about local stuff? And they said that really stuck with them. A lot of them hadn't gone all over the world, flown all over. We had conferences in all kinds of different states. We went to Africa, we did, and it was uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable.
That's right.
But it won't kill you. It will bless you. It will enlarge you. So when you talked about that, about the Black men, I want Black men. I can't wait. I'm starting a program, Gents with a Cut. And I first of all, I believe they'll fight God, but this man of God and myself, that's where we got that foundation. And I know that people disappoint you even in the church realm, but they're in the political realm as well. They're in the job world and all. You don't stop working. You see what I'm saying? They disappoint you in the club. So why is the church always, they're disappointed I'm leaving? That's what you need, the word of God, the foundation, and the love, that unconditional love that Christ gives. So I'm saying that, I'm throwing that out there. But in addition to that, you need mentors like this man of God. You need to, first of all, see yourself as somebody.
That's right.
My husband always said, if you drive a garbage truck, be the best garbage driving truck man you could be. If you pick it up like I heard someone on one of the late night shows. He's a popular comedian. I can't call his name. He said, "My dad told me, son, I don't care what you're doing. If you clean a fish, clean that fish like nobody else." So you can learn for those things. Now, as we prepare, I want to end this thing on a bang and a boom, because you just blew us out of the water. You say so many things that I want to just really, I want to break them down. But as you go out to reach the community and talking like these hurricanes we've been having, tell me in my closing question, in light of the political atmosphere, the unusual weather conditions, and the pandemic, uh, what changes, I should say, how should our citizens protect or defend themselves? I hope I
No,
articulate that
that's a great question. Great question.
as it relates to law, because we're
Right.
not astute. We're not with Cochran from.
You,
So
you, you
how
know,
do I approach that from a legal standpoint? That's maybe I'll articulate that better.
Pastor Morton, Hosea 4:6 says, our people, my people, die or perish from a lack of knowledge. So what you're doing here is providing an opportunity to share knowledge on these topics. So one of the ways to protect ourselves, particularly with these climate changes and the increased incidences of hurricanes and natural disasters, et cetera, is to make sure that you are fortified from an insurance perspective. Make sure that your insurance policies are placed in where you can find them. Make sure that you have a plan to be able to have a safety net. If you're able to put a little money on the side. When we left for Hurricane Katrina to go to Houston, we had no idea we were going to be out there 2 months, 2.5 months. We left thinking we were going to turn around.
That's a short time.
Exactly.
2.5 months. Lord have mercy. Some people were there. They're still there. Go ahead.
And they're still there, right?
Yeah.
So have a plan in place to protect your family and be prepared. Make sure that your insurance policies are in place. Make sure you have a contact with your agents, et cetera. Those things will protect your families. Make sure you have your radios and batteries and flashlights and those types of things. But let's talk about another issue. The George Floyd matter is happening right now, right? One of the messages I would like to get to our citizens, particularly African-American males, as we traverse this dangerous situation sometimes in law enforcement. What I want you to do is, when you are confronted by law enforcement, make sure you're compliant, right? While you're there. And if they violate you pause a second, keep your composure, then let somebody like me know about it. We'll deal with them later. Because oftentimes you would be morally right, absolutely right, but dead wrong in the terms of being killed in a situation like that. So I'm trained, and I was trained by my father. God bless his soul. He died about 1.5 years ago, but he lives forever in me and in others.
Jesus' name.
He said, Ronnie was my nickname. He said, Ronnie, just be cool, and you come to me and let me know what's going on, and I'll deal with them. And let us. That's our lane. That's what we do at the Cochran firm. We fight for situations like that. We're dealing with litigation all over the country. I'm presently representing the McLaughlin family in the Shreveport area, who was brutally beaten and died at the hands of police. Have other cases around the country. We have recovered with the Cochran firm over $35 billion on behalf of citizens throughout the United States and different parts of the country. So we are masters of preparation. We care about people and humanity like Johnny Cochran wanted us to do. We deal with multi-million-dollar cases. We deal with all of these various sort of issues and concerns. So give us a shot to represent you in situations like that. We'll make sure that we provide the excellence. And on top of that, we develop real relationships with our clients. But I am so grateful and so thankful that this Vice Gerent let me come on and say a few words about my background. I've been practicing 21 years, and you have truly been an inspiration to me, which has inured to my family. And when you talk about the achievement of individuals and human beings, my wife says it best. She says, there's no real difference in human beings. It's a matter of opportunity, experiences, and exposures. So that's what we're doing. You're giving opportunities, you're exposing your constituency to this knowledge.
Mm,
And I look
mhm.
no differently than any other African-American male on the streets of New Orleans in this country. The only difference is I've had folks like yourself to expose me and give me opportunities and experiences, which have caused me to be the person I am today.
But I I can't say you look like the average one, though. You're too sharp for that. But if they clean up, they probably look just as good. You know, my also my parents and my people basically, especially my godmother. I don't know where she get all that wisdom, but she taught me to look the part. And you know, people think, you know, I like fashion, but it didn't just come naturally. I was around these people who knew how to be appropriate. What we have to learn to be is appropriate. Yes, I'm my own man and I'm my own woman and I live in my own. No, no, you live in a world of systems.
That's right.
And if you are not aware, uh, on top of your game in that system, you could be as smart, talented, gifted, you can lose. You got to learn. In the hood, they taught us, play the game. You
That's
got to,
right.
you look the part, you play the game, get in. The old folk used to say, get your foot in the door first.
That's right.
Don't come there with all of that diggity attitude.
That's right.
And that's craziness. When you know you have something, you have to look the part, play the part. And I'm not changing. I know we see the rappers and all, but listen, are they really valued
Mhm.
for who they are, or are they valued because they make money for them?
They make money
They
for
don't
them.
see them dressing like that.
That's right.
And they say them doing, they make, if you making a million, they making 10. So uh hello somebody. So man of God, I want to say continue now. I want to end with saying you blessed me by introducing me to your new partner and brought me to that fabulous. I know I want that piece of art behind you, by the way. I know that's my baby's work. Eileen Stampley, shout out to your
That's
cousin.
right. Eileen Stampley did that.
Yes, awesome. But you brought me to this fabulous Cochrane Fern and introduced me and looking over this water, and you made me dream even more. And I was so blessed by your partner. And I love again, please say for me, and it's in the chat. I want y'all to look in the chat because we're giving all this information out, how you can reach him and empower yourself, protect yourself, as I said, doing the things you can do, insurance. I'm going to do a show on insurance and protecting yourselves, and investment, and also retirement and building legacy. But in addition to that, you have people like Attorney James Carter and the firm, Cochrane Firm, that can help you because they have a twofold purpose. Yes, they're going to make money, but they also want to make sure that you are well taken care of, that they protect you and humanity. And so when I came there to hear your partner say that uh, Cochrane slogan, I absolutely want to steal it, but I can't. But what is it? Again, we do what?
The Cochrane, which one of
The
there's so many of
slogan
them.
that we do good work, you know, good work.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Remind me.
Yes,
We do well, but we do good at the same time, right? We
that's
do
it.
well, but
We
we do good
do
at the same
well,
time.
but we do good at the same time.
That's right.
Which
And
is
my
that
right.
giving part, that heart part, that hard work part, that helping somebody else part, but doing well at the same time. That look, that's my motto. Oh, I'm gonna look good. I'm going to go to the spa. I'm gonna do well, but ask all of my friends when they didn't know about spas, especially full gospel leaders. I took them to the #1 spa in the world at that time, which was in Miami. And they were like crying. And then I opened the spa in New Orleans East and did a Valentine's Day. They had never had it done in New Orleans East at any place. And I had been to New York, here and there, Europe, all the spa, and I fixed it just like that. And I had robes and I had everything they gave me. And I was walking around serving them sparkling cider on a tray. And they had salads while they got their hair done and they what came out of their massage. And one girl was just boohooing, and I went to her, I said, what's wrong, honey? You're not having a good time. She said, nobody ever served. You have been serving me, but your husband bought this. You deserve it. I can't. And I mean, when I tell you, I could have gone to heaven from there because I had shared what God had done for me. So I was doing well, but I also did good.
That's right.
So,
That's
and
right.
I'm still gonna do good, and I'm fighting for New Orleans season. Y'all gonna see. So listen, we have spent time together. I know it's not the last time. I know we have work to do, so we can do good together. And I'm here for you, and you're there for me. And I have an old bishop. He's not that old, but one of my bishops, he says we're better together. So on that note, thank you, Attorney Carter, for being with us. And I hope you'll come back to the Morning Coffee Show. And remember, friends, you don't want to just survive. That's not what life is about. You want to thrive. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
tuning in, and we'll see you next time. God bless.
And thank you, Pastor. And on behalf of my partner, Jeff Mitchell, thank you so much.
Thank you. And be blessed. Stay safe, 6 feet away. Get your vaccinations. And of course, let's do this thing together and live our best life in God. God bless.
It's time to fly.